All right, what's going on, everybody? I'm David Davis, founder of All Veteran Disability Claims, and I want to do a quick video for you, just talking about everyone's favorite VA map, right? So it's not called VA map, but it's the combined disability ratings for all of the different conditions that you might have. Try and break it down as easily as possible without confusing anybody, right? This is how I look at VA maps, right? The way that you can do this is by looking at every individual as being a whole person, obviously, right? When an individual comes to the military, looks at you as a whole person. Doesn't matter if you had an injury prior to coming in the military. If they accepted you, you are a whole person, right? It's time for you to get out the military, and now you have some disabilities. And for sake of some crazy math, I'm going to put all round numbers. We're going to say you have 4 different 50% ratings, one for PTSD, one for sleep apnea, one for migraines, and then one we'll say for your back. It's really bad back. 50% for your back is really bad ankylosis issues. Anyway, to start out, like I said, you're starting out with a whole person. And the way you look at the whole person, you can say, let's say this person is a pie. They can be a big round circle. And the way that you would normally do this is you can do it by taking the largest disability rating first. And if you take that largest disability rating first, then you put it into the actual whole person, which is that pie, that big round circle. And we know that all of the ratings are 50%, so it doesn't matter which one we take. So we'll take the PTSD first at 50%. So going into the pie, 50% of the pie leaves 50%, right? So the actual combined rating, which is not really combined yet, is 50%. And what's left of the whole person is 50, right? Like I said, if you split this pie right down the middle, you take away 50% and you have 50% left of that individual. That's the first part of this map. The next part is understanding that you're not necessarily adding each percentage on top of itself. You're putting that percentage towards the actual whole person. And like we just said, if you have the whole person and you just took 50% of that whole person away, meaning that they've already got a disability for 50%, what's left is the 50%. If I'm doing another 50% rating, I look at that whole person, which is only 50% left. What is 50% of 50 is 25, right? I can take that 25 and I can move it underneath the other 50%, which I had for PTSD. We'll say that second 50% was for migraines, but what it comes out to, 50% of 50 is 25, right? I'm actually adding 50% and 25% together, which will give me 75%. But we're not going to stop there. We have 4 different 50% ratings, right? And this is where it starts getting a little bit difficult for me to do this in my head. But anyway, so you got what you have left. You just took 50% from the 50 that you had, which leaves 25, right? And like we said, we have another 50% rating. What is 50% of 25? It's going to be 12.5%. If I'm adding these all together, now I have 50%, I have 25%, and I have 12.5%. I have 25 left of the whole person. What is 50% of 25? It's going to be 12.5. We added the 50, we added the 25, we're adding 12.5, which is going to bring us to 87.5 right now, right? So let's go in and go a little bit further. And this is how it confuses so many different people and it frustrates so many people, because if I have 4 different 50% ratings, it looks like 200%, right? It's not 200%. It looks like 200, but how am I getting less than 100% if I got 200 or 4 50% ratings? This is how. We've already added up the 50, we added up 25, we added up 12.5. Right? So what we had left of the individual, which were of the whole person, is 12.5, right? We have 12.5 left of a whole person because we just took out the last 12.5 of it, or we just took out 50% of what we had of 25. So now we have left 12.5, right? So don't get confused. What is 50% of 12.5? That's going to be 6.25, right? This is frustrating to say the least, but when it comes down to it, you have 50 plus 25 plus 12.5 plus 6.25, right? That comes to 93.75, right? Which rounds that down to 90%. right? Even though you have 4 different 50% ratings, it will still round down to 90% because it's at 93.75, right? If you have another percentage rating, it'll bump it up a little bit, but the whole thing comes down to just understanding why they come up with the numbers that they come up with. There are calculators that are out there. There's some that I really admit are out there. There's some that are a little bit more confusing, but just get an understanding. This is what All Veterans Disability Claims is all about. We're all about helping and getting understanding about these different things. We don't have to be frustrated. And if I'm not frustrated, I can see a little bit more clearly of how I get the rating that I'm supposed to get. All right? That's the whole purpose of all this information.